Hi everybody, Dacob here. Welcome back to the Fashion Bunker. So today, I'm going to talk to you about issues with Louis Vuitton. Yes, it seems like it never ends. Customer complaints and problems. Well, now, Celesta, would you care to come in, sweetie darling? Let's talk about you just for a second, sweetie. Come in. Hello. You guys, this is Celesta, wonderful YouTuber, luxury YouTuber as well. And Celesta just made a video. I'm going to read the title for you. I had to pay $200 to replace my defective Louis Vuitton bag, Simply Celesta. I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly, sweetie. If I am not, my apologies. Please go subscribe to Celesta's channel. I'm going to post the link to her channel in the description box underneath my video. Subscribe and send her some love. Celesta, darling, I'm going to explain to the world what happened to you and your bag, okay? Kissy. See you in a bit. Bye. All right. So you guys, subscribe to my channel, push the join button next to the subscription button, become a member today, get access to extra perks. You can also join me on Patreon, superdacob, all spelled together, for extra perks. Thank you to my members and patrons who have already pledged. This video is being filmed live in front of a live virtual audience. I live stream every Saturday. You're all invited to partake in the conversation, the live chats. Speaking of live chats, cue them in. Here we go, you guys. We'll go. So, Celesta made a video where she she's in North America. She was traveling to Hawaii where she bought a Louis Vuitton bag. That bag, that's the bag. She bought it in Hawaii for, as she states here, this is from her own Insta stories, I guess, $1,600, right? And the bag was, okay, she bought the bag in Hawaii, had it for a couple of weeks, started noticing that there was cracking on the bag. Now, the bag is still under warranty because if it's, let's say, by the way, everything I say in this video is just my opinion only, not rooted in any truth or reality. It's just for entertainment purposes. My opinion, everything is alleged, right? So allegedly, Celesta had got the bag and it was still under warranty. I mean, if you have it only for 3 weeks, she had it right about 2 to 3 weeks, and she noticed a crack in the bag, but she wasn't in Hawaii anymore. Here you get to see the crack. Now, yeah, guys, honestly, I'm looking at this thing now. It doesn't really look like a crack to me. It looks kind of like the paint coat on the because this is a leather bag. This is not a canvas bag, right? So the leather doesn't crack like that. The paint coat could be cracking. There could be some issues with the finish on the leather. If this were canvas, this could be the beginning of a crack. Rachel says, looks like a key mark. Debbie says, I see it. Yes, I see this, but I do not call this a crack personally. So anyway, to me, this is not a crack in the leather. This looks more like an issue with the paint job. Okay, I mean, Picky Ricky, everybody, Nicky Ricky, right? Everybody has their own opinion. Okay, whatever. So this is a close-up of what it is. Now, Celesta takes this to Louis Vuitton. She's no longer in Hawaii. She's now back home somewhere else in the States, right? Allegedly. And she now has an issue because, of course, the place where she's at, the Louis Vuitton in her area has a different price for these bags because of tax differences, state taxes, what have you. But she's still under warranty. So she takes the bag to one of these Louis Vuitton boutiques near her area, and they analyze the bag and they say, you know, we can send it off for repairs. So it's at the discretion of the boutique staff, manager, what have you, to decide whether or not, if you're still under warranty and actually you're just like a couple of weeks in after buying a bag, they could decide to give you a brand new one, or they could decide to send it away for repairs. So the first boutique kind of said, you know, we could send it off for repairs, but you're going to have to wait up to 6-7 months for the bag to return. She was like, yeah, it's a summer bag. I bought it for summer. By the time you return it to me half a year from now, it's going to be winter. I'm not going to want to wear it anymore. So then she goes to another boutique where she knows some people, and here like connections start entering into conversation. She knows some sales associate who's been her sales associate for a while. She's been buying. So she has kind of contacts in this other Louis Vuitton either it's a corner store or a store on its own. And then this other place, they say, oh, you know what? No, this is a bag that seems like something we should exchange. We should give you a new one. Let me check in the stock. They check in the second boutique in the stock and they see they don't have the bag in stock. So they're like, well, then you're going to have to go to the other boutique back again and just tell them what we told you and try to get it exchanged there. They have the bag in stock, allegedly. Go exchange it there. So she goes back to the other boutique. Long story short, she manages to get it exchanged. They give her a new one. But here is what happened. They charge her $200, more or less, allegedly, for the new bag, even though the old bag was under warranty and still just a couple of weeks old. So she just doesn't think about it. And she says this in her video. She said, Celesta says, whatever, luxury stores. And she says something quite interesting. She says, oh, when you're in a luxury store, you don't kind of ask for the price, you just pay and you go. And I was like, well, hold it. What? No. No. First of all, just because you're in a luxury boutique, never feel uncomfortable to ask how much something costs. And we've had this conversation in the past. Asking how much something costs does not mean that you cannot afford it. Contrary to popular belief, right? What a lot of people imply, well, if you want to know how much it costs, then you can't afford it. That is not true. That is absolutely not true. Especially if it's in your own right and you're still under warranty and your product is basically new and you want to exchange it because there's a flaw there, they can't just tell you, well, pay a surcharge of $200 because the bag in this state costs $200 more with the taxes than the bag would cost or did cost you in Hawaii. And then you just say, oh, sure, here you go. No. Well, unfortunately, Celesta actually paid and then left, and then people started telling her friends started telling her, girl, you shouldn't have paid the $200. What were the $200 for, actually? And then, interesting, she contacted also Foxy LV. And then Foxy LV wrote her, hey, Foxy LV, how's it going, my love? Foxy LV, who is our living encyclopedia of all things Louis Vuitton, Foxy LV then also told her, girl, you should not have paid the $200. So then apparently Foxy got involved, also contacted the boutique. So there was a lot of back and forth. And somehow finally, Celesta got the $200 back. Moral of the story. What is the moral of the story? Moral of the story is we, all of us, should, and Celesta acknowledges this in her video as well. She said, it's trickier to pay something and then get your money back. It's better to first ask and deal with it before you have to pay. And I completely agree. This is the moral of the story. You go to a luxury boutique or any boutique really, and they want to charge you something extra for a situation like this. Before you pay without asking, no. First you say, what is this for exactly? Why are you charging me $200 on top? Are you sure this is okay? I don't think this is okay. And you pull a Karen. Can I speak with the manager? Oh, you are the manager? Okay, I want to have it in writing. Why are you charging me this? And let me call the customer service while we're at it, just to ask them as well. Louis Vuitton customer service. Yeah. Hi, your store manager in this boutique would like to charge me this amount because their bag is flawed and they're giving me a brand new one, but they want to charge me. Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah, they're charging. Yes. Oh, they're not supposed to do that? Well, would you like to talk to the manager of the boutique? I can hand them over to you. Yeah, customer. Yes. Okay, here you go. That's how you play the game. Just saying. Now, exactly just copy. Customer service, in writing, all of that and then some. Now, I think Celesta is just a really, really, really sweet person, kind, and she just trusts people. They were like, pay this, and she was just, okay, well, if this is how it goes, I'll just pay. But she also says in her video very clearly, hey, I learned my lesson. Like, no, ask. Always, always ask. What's the price? Why that price? And then we move from there. What are your thoughts, guys? Let me know in the comment section down below. Great advice, always ask before you swipe. Oh, Caleb, always ask before you swipe. Super importante. Zara says, I was just thinking I could go for some Louis. Louis has a good warranty. I was part of the major recall they did. The service and accountability was excellent. Well, there you go. Not in every store. You have to be very, very careful, you guys. And especially if you're still under warranty and they're asking you these extras and like, oh, pay on top of this and top. Hold it. Susie Q says, I always ask the price and I don't care what any sales associate thinks. And the cat says, same here, Susie Q. Your access to the red carpet says they ripped her off. Silala says it should have been an even exchange. I completely agree with you. And in fact, they acknowledged that and they did give her eventually the money back. So she says, allegedly. So thank goodness that ended well for Celesta. But I'm really sorry that she had to go through that, because you do kind of like lose faith in the brand. Like Celesta, I can imagine that you came home and you were like, when your friends started telling you, hey girl, the $200 on top, why? Like, and then I could imagine like Celesta starting to feel like, oh my God, did they trick me? Like, did Louis Vuitton rip me off? I mean, honey, they rip us off. They rip us off anyway, because all of this is not worth the money we pay. So we're already, you guys, we are already ripped off from the second we decide to spend the money on this trash. Okay. I love this garbage. This is my garbage of choice. I love my trash. Thank you for subscribing. I love my trash. It's fine. It's my decision. I'm the crazy person who decided to drop a pretty penny for plastic and a bit of leather. But let's be very clear. We've already been ripped off. So on top of that, but we're willingly ripped off. But on top of that, something is wrong with that bag. You want to exchange and they give you a new one, but they're like, but let me rip you off some more. No, not cool. Not cool. Jacqueline Roberts says, it's your hard-earned money. Question everything, says Jacqueline. Right? Caleb says, knock on wood, I've never had a bad experience at Louis, but this would have totally turned me off. Oh, me too, completely. Especially because also what Celesta was doing, going between the different boutiques. One boutique saying, hey, no, our manager says we can only repair it. And then the other boutique, because he got the connection, says, oh, sure, we can give you a new one, but we don't have it in stock. Go back to the first boutique. Playing ping pong with a customer like that. Also, another thing she said in her video, like, go to the other boutique and like explain to them the situation again. And that was another point I thought to myself, well, hold on a minute. No. You're the boutique that's accepting this bag as flawed, and you're telling me that you can exchange it for a new one. So you request a transfer of the bag to your boutique and then you give it to me. Done. I don't have to do the work for you. Why do I have to go all across town to the other boutique and explain to them the situation all over again? No. So you're telling me the bag is flawed, I can get a new one, you don't have it in stock, they have it in stock, then request a freaking transfer. You transfer the bag over to your boutique, you give me the bag, we're done. What's the problem? Why do I have to go to the other boutique? They sent her to the other boutique. She went to the other boutique, talked to the other manager there, and then she had to pay those $200 on top. Terrible. Just terrible. Terrible. Honestly. Honestly. So anyway, Frozen Luxury. This would have never happened at Kors Outlet. All the essays should be on the same page too. Not all say something different. That is also true. But, there's a lot of misunderstandings going on. Misinformation. People are informed wrongly. Our people haven't been listening when they were, being briefed about how return policy works and this and that. And I mean, some boutiques also have like a specialist that is there just for repairs. She did mention that in her video as well, I believe, about a specialist being there that deals with the repairs and sees if a piece warrants repair or exchange. And then there was a little bit of conversation going on there as well. Whether or not they deemed the bag to be, okay, yeah, sure, this is our fault. We're going to give you a new one. Or you could have caused this, so we're going to send it off for repairs instead. I mean, it's a complicated call. Right, Caleb? Yeah, it's plastic and a bit of leather. I mean, so let's call a spade here, okay? Now, but anyway, just saying. So that's my opinion here. Abimelech says, why should the customer go somewhere store needs to do transfer? Exactly. I know, right? Now, there could have been some reasoning over there because one of these stores might have been a corner store somewhere, that like a department that was not a full-blown boutique and didn't have the same contacts to a full-blown boutique. It doesn't really matter. Louis Vuitton is Louis Vuitton. If this other store could see that the other store had the bag in stock. If they can see the other store's stock, you best believe they can request a transfer. Because otherwise they wouldn't even be able to see the other store's stock. You see what I mean? So, you know, like, come on, girl. Louis Vuitton shouldn't make their customers feel like they bought their bag at Payless Shoe Store. It's, you guys, am I the only one who has this impression that these luxury boutiques are kind of going into that direction? That there's this tendency lately that they all kind of like treat you when you come back with, you know, like buy it, leave. You're so lucky that you even got the piece. Okay. If you dare return and say, I have an issue with the piece, then they go all ballistic on you. Remember that time I got the kirigami pouches and there was that stitch issue? Oh my God, terrible, where they kind of melted into the canvas. I made that video, by the way, check it out. You could see the close-ups of the destroyed canvas. What a mess. I bought it that day. The next day I took it back and I said, hey, this ain't no bueno, you know? And then they're like, oh, you know, but you know, yes, they are machine made, but a lot of the steps are also man-made. And here we go with the same spiel they always do by saying like, you know, you have to understand the artisanry of the, I'm like, and I told you the trick that I used back then, and I always use this. It's not a trick really. It saves you a lot of time. So it's not a trick. It's the truth. I just tell them, all right, you know what? It's my fault because I'm such a perfectionist. I know. I'm so sorry. I understand that this bag is so perfect with the melting canvas. It's just I cannot deal with it. It's too much for me. I know. I'm super complicated. So sorry for being so complicated. I just can't handle the melted canvas. And then they're like, oh, no, of course we can give you a new one. Because then they don't have any more weapons against you. You know, you're like saying, oh yeah, no, it's my fault. I'm the crazy person who wants to have a non-broken piece. Thank you. And then they're like, oh, okay. Yeah, all right. All right, then. We're going to give you a new piece. And they gave me a new kirigami pouch. I checked it out. It was perfection. Came back home happy. But for a second there, they did that to me too. They're like, hey, you know, but these are, you know, artisanry, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, sure, sell it to somebody who believes it. I just want one that doesn't have a hole in the canvas. Thank you. Anyway. Right? Trina says, it's like they feel like they should not be unconvinced for the mistakes or the poor product instead of like bending over backwards to get the situation fixed. And the problem is, on top of all of that, you guys, is that they are literally, I mean, there's a queue of people waiting in front of the boutique to come in and buy this stuff. So they're entitled. They are literally entitled. They know that if you don't buy this, you don't want it. Okay, there's another 20 people waiting in line that are going to buy it if you don't want it. So it's like they don't need to fight for their customer anymore either, unless you're not a very big spender, unless you're not buying their apparel, their real fine jewelry, I mean, the footwear, also, of course, they're, you know, SLGs and stuff. But like if you're like a big spender that brings in the commish as well, well, that's a different story. That's a different story. But for these like kind of minor sales, for them, minor, they're like, whatever, like, girl, like, okay, so there's a flaw in that, whatever. You don't want it. There's another 30 people. There's somebody who will be willing to oversee the scratch. And so I think these brands also have these luxury, high-end luxury brands have come to a point where they can do this. They literally can, because we let them, because we're desperate for the pieces. There's a point in history has come somewhere down the line. And I think also because of social media, we've come to a point where we literally have become victims to this stuff, like slaves to it. And whether it be because other people on social media are showing it, so we want to belong to that, or because it's become such a routine, because we're so overexposed to it that it kind of has become not special anymore. When there was no internet and all you had was like Vogue and Marie Claire, and then you would kind of look at the, you know, once a month you would go through the catalogs or through the magazine and see the pieces and be like, oh wow, this is amazing. It was there was a rarity about it. You would feel that it's something special. But now you're just flicking through Instagram posts and TikTok videos all day, and there's new ones popping up like mushrooms every couple of minutes. So it's not special anymore. It's become very routine and normal, very, very mundane, really, to have a Louis Vuitton piece. Very mundane. Like, it's like you got to have it. Like, you have to have a toothbrush. So these luxury brands are kind of catching up with that because the demand is growing. Because for us, it's all become so, of course, it's a Louis piece. Yeah, okay. Of course you got to have it. So, and this is an issue. And I have the feeling that the speed in which social media is presenting these pieces and the speed in which the luxury brands are actually adapting to this new set. These are two different speeds. These are two different speeds. Just very desensitized. Yes, Quickity. Yeah, yeah. It was so much more special back in the day. Just yapping, I agree with you. Frozen Luxury says, read How Luxury Lost Its Luster. It talks about all of this. Yes, it's an interesting one, a book. So anyway, let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. And thank you, Celeste, for inspiring me to make this video. Never forget to never give up on love. Subscribe.